We have a quorum present, which is trustees Creedy, Molyneux, and myself, Rogers. We also have in the room here Treasurer Doug, Norm, zoning administrator Chris Damon, resident Robert Novak, and on Zoom we have trustee Matt Patterson, Bill Christian, who is a consultant for the MERP projects that we will be discussing, and Mark Woodrow, also here too, since the Welling Field project, which we'll be discussing, is kind of Mark's brainchild and on his wish list. So the first order of business here is that we will be revising the agenda, and that is at 8:20. We were scheduled to have a half an hour discussion with the Shasberry Select Board on a water billing dispute. Several members of that board were unable to attend at the last minute. So we will be ending our meeting a half an hour early. I'm not sensing a great deal of disappointment, so we will proceed. Therefore, the first order is to review and approve the minutes of Tuesday, August 13th, which was the last monthly meeting. And then we had a continuation of that on Monday, August 19th. I'm going to assume that people have read, but if there are any questions, let's take these as two. Should we do them as two or one?
If you have no questions or
If
changes.
we have no question, we can do them as one.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Tara is not here. Okay, so we have minutes. I'm trying to write notes, so bear with me. August 13 and August 19. Were there any questions of those present? No. A motion, please.
I'll move both minutes.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ray. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are we getting a thumbs up from Matthew? I can't see.
Wasn't at that meeting, the Monday meeting,
Okay.
on that one, but otherwise, yep.
You were, okay. Sorry, I'm still making my notes. The next order of business is we'll review the warrants.
Okay, the warrant that I have on my top is the payroll warrant. So this is for the month of August. This was a 3 payroll month, so there are 3 sets of payroll on for August, 1 Aflac billing. And there is, I'll make the one note, Norm did have a temporary part-time person. You'll see William is on there. I'm not going to state the last name. So you'll see 2 checks that were paid for him for his time. So before anybody asks, that's who that is.
Okay.
So the total for the August is $20,207.16.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Okay.
Madison.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
Just globally speaking, how does the pay data system work? Because it looks like we're putting out checks to them and to the employees.
Nope. So all of this is electronic.
Right.
So the
What I'm getting at is, what is their fee for doing our payroll?
So it does vary depending on the pay period and the number of days in the month, but it's on every 2 weeks. So the three fees that we had in the month of August were $68, $70, and $59.
Okay.
So when you read that warrant, you'll see one says fee, one says EE, which is the employee's contribution to Social
For
Security.
taxes, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other is ER, which is the employer's match on the Social Security.
Okay.
So
Right.
So that's
It
just
shows-
remitting withholdings.
Yeah, it shows
Right.
as paid data because they then remit to federal, state, all those things.
Right,
The only money they're retaining for their services is that small, like I said, the 68, the 70, and the
Right.
59.
right, so that's really reasonable, it sounds
Yes.
like. rather
Yeah,
than-
because they handle the reporting things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some bumps in the road with them but from a overall, that's a fairly reasonable fee for the service and, like I said, everything is electronic, everybody has direct deposit, so they're handling all of that. So, yep.
Excellent, okay.
So there was a motion by Ray and a second by Matt. Your question has been answered. If there are no other questions, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
May we
Aye.
use yours and keep mine for
Yep,
notes?
absolutely.
We'll
Do them, I'll send them out after.
Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
Okay, so the monthly warrant, I did combine the late August and the September because the late August was not a large warrant from a numbers standpoint. It had one large item, which I'll go over in a second, but for condensing things, I just did it as one. So the grand total of the warrant is $74,116.08. The largest on there is the KS State Bank, and that is the annual payment for the fire truck. 10,000 of that gets offset from the reserve loan sinking fund. So, and that's how it's been budgeted, and that's how it will go for another 5 or 6 years. I forget the exact amount for the reserve.
That's the entire amount for the whole year?
Correct. That's an annual payment. Yep. And like I said, reserve funding clears 10 of that.
Right,
VLCT property and casualty, that's the next largest item on there. That is our quarterly for them. And then the next item, the McCullough Library at 10,000, that's their first payment for this fiscal year. We did move several of the payments for the other organizations until either late October, early November, and December to more in line with when the taxes are flowing in. Those used to get paid a little earlier, but now with there's not as much fund balance basically from the prior years. So in order to keep the cash flow proper, we've just adjusted those, which again, makes sense with the revenue doesn't start to come in until late September, middle of October. So anything that can be pushed back, that's where we're at.
Sorry.
Yep, go ahead. So if you have another question, I can pull up. I sent the detail out. I just don't have it right in front of me, but we can find out. Or Mary has hers.
The
Norm's here.
MSK is that the design work for the field project?
Yes, this MSK bill
That's
is
the
for
old
Welling
one.
Field.
Okay.
Yep.
That's not the bill for what the redesign.
No,
No, this one is for Welling Field. So that will be an ARPA. So those funds, while being paid out of operating currently, that's ARPA approved. So that will be a transfer back in for that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
I make a
Okay.
motion that
Scott,
we
thank you.
approve the warrant of $74,116.08.
I'll second.
Ray seconded. Hearing no other questions unless Matthew has one. I don't see you on screen, so we'll assume no other questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Matt.
I'll pass these around. There's two of them. Need a pen, right?
Well, aren't we zipping along?
Yep, and then I'll jump back in. after
You'll jump
Norm.
back in, okay. Norm, all yours. You want to start with Wellingfield?
Sure, we've started, on Mullins Field, we have our, big red dozer. Our women came in earlier last week and tilled their field so we can get some more sod out of it, so if you happen to see Hardwick, he's a very good community partner to North Bennington.
Yes.
Certainly needs to be recognized. So, anyway, the final plan is in place, the construction has started. We're 2 machines going full board. Our other excavators doing some other stuff. Timmy's taking care of little things around the village when he's not helping us, and, you know, that's where I'll be for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So hopefully we'll have it, the weather stays like it is, we're great, we're making some good progress.
And then the process is you dug it all up, you screened what you could?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Right now, we're just pushing everything that's savable in the pile, then we take and flatten the land to grade, we screen, and we put the top back on it.
Okay.
Then we, put compost on it, which, Trevor Mance actually worked with us in Casella. And I forget the lady's name who's running the plant now, I apologize, but she's been very helpful. They've actually given us a deal on some compost, they cut a couple dollars off the yard. You know, when you're buying 350 yards, it's, you know, a couple bucks a yard is a big deal.
Yeah.
We've got, Jasper is gonna help me haul it this week, later on this week, you know, and again, highway side, we have very good partnerships with that. And, I encourage the board to keep maintaining that.
Yes.
So, also the town of Bennington is helping us, the parks department, so, you know, it's a huge, we couldn't do this alone.
No.
So that's going, we've got our contractor that does our concrete work, he's supposed to look at the bridge, or shooting the dam again, and hopefully we can get that done before we get any rain, because the water's real low right now.
Yes.
We should be skipping that, so you start seeing some work done on that, and he's just gonna have to do it without me, so.
He can do that as soon as he's ready then, right?
He's ready.
Okay, good.
And, get that done, and then other than that, the only thing that we have to do for, you know, summer maintenance is, you know, storm drains.
Okay. So for that dam work, is there anything that, any equipment that might need to be over there or whatever that could possibly be in the way of a fire truck if they had an emergency?
No,
I guess,
it's all-
are we,
It's in the
so,
back part.
okay, so there's nothing that we should alert other than just,
There might be some mobiles that park back there that are gonna be,
Okay.
be inconvenienced for a little bit, because it'll block off some parking spaces.
okay, but we shouldn't impede the fire.
Right.
Okay, good.
No, not at all. It's not gonna affect that. No, so.
Well, I will say that the field, Norman sent me a picture of that field, and you would not even recognize it. It's phenomenal. Mark, I don't know if you've had a chance to go up and look at it, but if you haven't, I think you'd be highly pleased with it.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I didn't even, because I'm not really in touch with you guys anymore. Didn't realize it was, it started.
Yeah. And it's
So I
a
will.
multi-community, multi-partner, which I think everybody involved should be proud of their effort.
Yeah, no, that was one of the things I was going to ask to just have a second to say. Really appreciate. I was very discouraged with our last meeting when I saw some of the numbers that were coming out from the quotes, and can't thank Norm and the relationships he's developed with the town of Bennington and the work that they're doing and he's doing with them, and all the good work that he's done to make these projects doable for us, where I don't think it could have been done without him and all the help that he's been able to get for us. So I really do appreciate it.
Well, what I'll just make sure, Mark, is that I include you on any emails that I see going back and forth, and I apologize if I missed you on any here.
Oh, no apologies needed. Nope, that's absolutely fine. Thank you.
Okay, all right, well, great. Let's see,
And
was there
the dam you're talking about in the previous question is the one by the firehouse.
the fire?
The one by the firehouse, and just to clarify, it's
It's a wall.
more of a cosmetic repair, it's not structural.
Right.
It's not, there's no integrity, we don't want anybody with chicken with their head cut off. It's, you know, the side, you know, certainly pushing water into that stone, but,
Right.
you know, it's nothing that's gonna do any damage, it's just gotta, you know, just
Mhm.
repairing it a little bit, so it's not a big deal. We've been through other dam inspections, we didn't have any problems, there's nothing cited. That one actually got downgraded from wherever it was, it got dropped one lower, so, whatever their hazard or, priority level is, it's less of a problem. So,
Okay.
however that works out with the floodplain, I can't answer that, it's way past us. We've done the one culvert, there's two to be done on River Road, there's one that we had to do this year. We had to get it done soon, so we did it, it still hasn't been patched yet, we're just kind of letting the traffic keep it down. It should be patched sometime in the near future, that's all.
Mhm.
And then there's one more next year past that, and then, maybe we'll.
Past that where? Towards Pembroke?
Yeah, George Pembroke is 112 inch.
Where would that be?
It's just past that. It's
Just,
up by where the driveway entrance takes water from the other side.
oh, okay,
It's
okay,
on our side of the road, so.
okay.
So, that's gonna be done in one of Jim's grants.
Okay,
But the bigger one was this year, so we did the bigger pipe this year.
okay.
We just gotta do some hydro seeding on the side once we get, once all that stuff shows up, so.
May I ask one question about that? That pipe you put in there dumps into a channel along the road a little bit, and then it goes into that little dip there underneath the parking lot? Is that it's gonna stay there, or?
What do you
does it
mean?
have a?
So the pipe, yeah, it comes in,
Comes from
Front Street,
down across.
down,
And
crosses the road, and that's the way it's always been.
Right,
It was just a small pipe, we upgraded it.
right.
And then it comes down and goes into the Henry Bridge field, and then moves it along, and then it goes underneath that little road that we have, and then down to the river. So once it gets into the Henry Bridge, it's 5 feet under, 6 feet under the ground anyway, even if the whole, the Henry Bridge part floods all the time. There's standing water in that anytime there's a big rain, so it's not.
Like, what I was asking about is, how does it get on the other side of the parking lot?
There's a pipe,
There's a pipe,
there's a pipe under the,
and is that going to be enlarged, or is it just gonna stay the same?
well, we'll see how it takes.
Yeah.
Because the water goes all over down there.
Yeah,
So,
it creates a little pond on
right.
one side.
If we don't get anything done on Park Street, nothing's changed, it's just a bigger pipe.
Right.
So, but, this was the time that we had the opportunity with funding from the feds to change it to a bigger piece, so we bought it.
So it goes into that, sort of wild area just on the other side.
That's correct.
Okay.
And even right before where our little road
And
was
the
in,
little,
it
right,
cuts around and there's a swale that brings it all the way down to us.
okay.
And the Welling Road culvert, when
I got 30 months to do that, so,
Oh.
after this project, that's got what, till next spring, probably. I don't anticipate that ever, we own it. I probably wouldn't have bought it, but you know what, it's cheaper this year than it will be next year, nothing ever goes down, so. We own it, if we get time, but I don't see it.
Sounds like you're gonna be
We
busy.
got a lot going on,
Yeah, and okay, that is a grant
yes.
part of it, which, you're right, we still have
I
a
got
lot.
30 months to do that.
Yeah,
so.
okay,
So that's not a big deal, and then we're meeting on, I think on the 20th, over at College and Harlan Road, and that will be kind of the same job as the Overley Road, smaller scale.
okay.
But it'll be kind of the same.
We is who? You and,
We and my army of.
like, not like
People.
a state person or?
No, it'll be just like the Overley Road job. We get a
Okay.
grant,
Okay,
we'll be the contractor,
okay, I didn't know if there was any permitting people that needed.
Oh, yeah, there's a
Okay.
whole lot.
Okay,
We get Chrisfield has to be involved again.
okay,
Yeah, but we're getting the proper size right now, again, we won't do anything unless we get a grant.
okay. All right. What else?
Great.
Like you don't have enough to do, huh?
We're pretty full, we got a lot of stuff going on, so.
Okay. Any questions for Norm? Any questions from Matthew? Or anybody in the audience? No. Okay,
Well,
Mary,
a lot of work you're doing.
yes,
I'm gonna check off now that the Welling Field part is done. I just wanted to say thank you to all you guys again. Really appreciate it.
oh, you're welcome. Okay,
You guys have a good night.
See you, Mark.
all right, thank you.
All right. we're all set with that.
All right.
That's it.
Yep. See you, Norm.
Unless you want to, okay.
Thanks, Norm.
Norm, I will try to catch up with you on whatever we talk about later in this meeting on that MERC project, which is the energy efficiency ones, because I'm sure you may have questions for Bill Christian, or he may have some for you. We'll have to set up a meeting. We need the fire department people to know what's going on too. So thank you.
And the electrician's been down to fix the
The light,
light.
okay.
I'm not sure where his plans on that, but he's out.
Okay, you're back up here.
Yes.
Okay,
So I think you just forgot to take off review FY '24 report, because I didn't have anything about that.
Oh,
Did
I
you
just-
have a question?
I wasn't sure if you would, and I should have put a question mark after
Okay.
that, so I forgot to take that off.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, so really the only thing that I have is the 24-25 tax billing update. Tax bills were brought to the post office yesterday. So those are all out in the mail as we speak. Just like Bennington and Shaftesbury, our tax due date this year is November 12th, due to weekend and holiday falling right there. So everything was moved to the next business day, which is Tuesday, the 12th.
Mhm.
I will be posting a few things on the website over the next week. One will be a little information sheet. We always get questions every year about people who forgot to file their homestead, so they're getting a non-homestead rate, and folks who forgot to check the box for if they qualify for the state credit for taxes. So Bennington had put together a nice thing that they put on their website and on their Facebook page, so I'm going to kind of edit that for ours, and there'll be links on there for folks to be able to click on to, because no municipality controls any of that information, it all goes through the state. So when somebody calls me and says, how come last year I had a homestead and this year I have a non-homestead? I can explain why, but I can't change that. They have to contact the state, and there's a form that needs to be filled out, and there is a time frame. So
Oh, that's a good service. Thanks for thinking of that.
typically you do it when you file your tax return. Sometimes it gets missed. Sometimes folks don't have to file a tax return. So they forget to file the homestead form.
For people that don't look at or don't think first to look for the website, is there something we should post in the depot or at the post office that says, if you have questions on your tax bill, go here?
What I can
Do
do
you
is
think
I
that would
can print the same thing that I post and put it here.
Oh, okay, let's do that.
Because it's just going to be a narrative that kind of gives a brief explanation, and it has,
Okay,
call this number or go to this website.
okay,
So I can just print that and put it in the depot, and I can give you one for the library if you want.
yeah, let's do that,
Yeah.
because,
So that will be out
the
there.
more people that we can reach, the better. That's a good thought.
And then I will set up my hours, which will probably start in the beginning of October. Last year I started, I think, at the end of September, and there really wasn't anybody that came to pay their tax bills at the end. I'll grab you just one sec. So I think my office hours will start at the depot around the beginning of October, and that will give about a 4-week range. for folks. I'll have set hours, usually one night and then on a Saturday. And then also people can set up if they need to meet me at a different time. So that will all be there. You got a question?
Well, it was just comment, being somewhat new to Vermont, the homestead, tax thing was totally new to me. So I probably about 2 or 3 years without getting the credit. My comment, I guess, would be, is there a way to add that statement, something to the tax bill that alerts people who may be, small number of people, but on an annual basis, we might have 2 or 3 new homeowners a year, and if they're not from Vermont, like myself, they could go for a long time.
So it's actually on the back of your tax bill. If you flip your tax bill over, there's 2 paragraphs that the state posts. It's special paper that we actually get. So on the back of it, it does have an explanation, very briefly. But basically it says the same thing as if you have a question, call us or go to our website. So yeah, but that's a great question.
You know?
So it is on there.
I do wonder, though, that just made me think. I wonder if at some point we could just ask realtors as a service to provide, I mean, we always have extra tax bills. We could ask them if they could just provide some of that information to new home purchasers.
Yeah.
Because if people do their own taxes, if you went to a tax preparer, they'd know.
Well, not always.
I agree with you.
The more expensive they are, the less they know.
Because I've had folks, when I bring that up and they say, oh, I went to so-and-so and they didn't do that for me. I said, I don't know what to tell you.
All right.
But yeah, so on the back, there is a little brief explanation. But I get what you're saying 100% because, over the last few years that I've been doing this, I've gotten a variety of those types of calls. This is my first year owning a home. This is my first time in Vermont. All those other ones, I used to rent this, but now I live here. So there's a variety of different changes that can happen that lead to homestead versus non-homestead. And then the same with the tax credit, that changes year to year depending on income. So, some folks will say, well, I got it last year. Why didn't I get it this year? I said, again, you got to find out, you may be over the threshold or you may have not filed the paperwork properly. So that's where I'm at. That's going to be what occupies the majority of my time for the next couple of months. And like I said, I don't have a lot of other updates. I will get the cash balance updated out probably next week because I was doing the tax billing. And then also I'm going to update QuickBooks with the 2025 budget.
Oh,
so
okay.
That'll get updated over the next couple of weeks. And then probably next month, I'll give you the first budget versus actual report for this fiscal year.
Quarterly is sufficient.
Any other questions for me?
I don't.
Okay.
Matthew, I'm hearing none, so might as well move along.
Yep.
Okay, I don't have any fire department, water department, DRB. Mr. Damon, do you know if DRB is meeting next week? They are not meeting. Okay, good. Then we can move on to Planning Commission. I will say that the Planning Commission is meeting next week, meeting on Monday, the 16th, instead of Wednesday, the 18th. So that was posted on the meeting minutes, posted after the previous meeting. But in case we do have people, and we encourage people to attend, but come in or dial in. We also do remote meetings on Monday, the 16th at 7 p.m. The next order of business is we do pretty continually seek members of the public that would like to serve on the Planning Commission. And we have a resident of several years, Marnie Kraus, who was approached to become, or to see if she would serve on the commission, met with the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission at the last meeting did approve that nomination to be brought here. So I believe we are awaiting a report on that.
I'm here because I'm here, and Steve came to present the nominees.
Sure. Well, we met with and like to, or have already nominated with an architect to bring to you the name Margie Kraus, lives at the Mill building in the village. And she has a son who, at least a son, I don't know that well personally, except from croquet. She's a great croquet player. And her son who graduated from Mount Anthony Union. And seems very smart and engaged and very enthusiastic, so we bring her name to you for consideration.
And I don't know if anybody else knows Marnie. I do. Her husband was a good friend and a great Rotarian for many years, so that's how I knew him. And they have both of Marnie and her husband, now deceased, were huge supporters of various events and things in the community, have always been community minded. And it seems Marnie is keeping up that tradition. So,
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve it.
thank you, Ray.
I'll second it.
And Matthew, did you have a question or a comment? Well, hearing none, we'll call that question. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. The next thing I would like to do is just briefly, Kim Hall could not be here today, but he wanted me to just read a few brief comments. He said editing of the village plan is going well and could largely be completed in a few more meetings. We have received a letter from the Federal Railroad Administration saying that the North Bennington Spur is a private track and therefore subject to state statute and local regulation. The Planning Commission will recommend to the trustees regulations that are in keeping with the state statute. We will be coordinating with the town of Bennington. And Mr. Hall has put out an invitation to various people in the town of Bennington. I think we should include the town of Shasberry as well, to discuss issues that go on with the possible railroad spur, the storing of hazardous materials, et cetera. That has been something that Kim has done a great deal of work on and is happy to share his immense knowledge with anyone. He also continues to say, we are awaiting the Vermont Emergency Management Group to schedule a meeting with VTrans concerning their VTrans update of the Lake Perrin Dam Emergency Action Plan. That emergency action plan is woefully outdated. It should have been updated in like 2015 or something like that. I think the last time it was looked at was 2011. So it's very outdated. And there were concerns issued in that old report that still need some updating. His last comment is, remarkably, we still have not received the dam safety program's report on the Lake Perrin Dam. And that was the in-person inspection that was done. I believe you were there. That was
June, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that, again, that report is still
No written report.
not available. So, yes, another hurry up and wait. So that's all, that's the updates that we have on Planning Commission. Anything else? Any questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
With regard to the hazardous materials,
Yes.
I noticed, and I've noticed this for years, that there are stacks of old railroad ties.
Yes.
Some of them are very, very old and rotting away. But my understanding is that they use creosote on those, and I don't know if that's a continuing hazard or if it dissipates over time. I think it's a really bad look for the village to have a stack of them right next to our basketball court. So I think when it comes to hazard, I know Kim is very concerned about the, propane tanker
Mhm.
cars.
Mhm.
But I would add that in to find out I mean, I don't think we as homeowners could keep creosote railroad ties in our yard,
Okay,
you know,
it's a
so.
good thought. We can bring that up at the planning commission, at the
Good luck.
planning commission meeting. Matthew, were you saying something?
Good luck. Yeah.
Oh,
Answer.
yeah, good luck. No, you're right about that. Oh, thank you, Steve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's my sentiment.
Okay.
It
And-
would be helpful to research the creosote issue,
Yes,
at least to know what they are.
Yeah,
I'll make some notes on that,
thank you.
and I'll conclude that in our minutes. Any other questions, comments, concerns regarding planning commission? If not, we will move on. And the old business is that we did have a couple of group learning sessions on the MERP, the municipal energy resilience plans, which were state funded, going back from ARPA funds back some number of years ago, federal monies that came to the states. States could distribute it. Vermont had this plan to help smaller energy burdened communities do upgrades to their municipal buildings. We had 3 assessments done to the depot, the fire station, and the garage. All of those, we are now at the process where we are looking to complete in the next 10 days, 9 days, complete an application for up to $500,000 in this grant money to actually implement these projects. The projects they're looking a lot at the envelope of a building and weatherizing a building. They're hugely looking at replacing fossil fuel heat systems with heat pumps. And then a third element of that is, which is a little lower priority, is solar. And they've made recommendations for each building on that. We also had another segment of a grant a little while ago, and that was to hire a consultant so that municipalities didn't have to do all this work themselves, assuming that most of us are not experts in this field. So we are fortunate that Bill Christian, also a resident of North Bennington, is an expert in this field. And Bill, with Ray's help, we got a contract signed with Bill to do this work for us. Bill is joined us by Zoom, so is there anything you would like to comment at this point? You're muted if you wanted to say something. Oh, there you go.
So did I hear a question?
No, I just asked if there was anything you wanted to say about the process or the suggestions that we are going to be including in our application for the grant funds. Is there anything you wanted to say at this point?
I'm going through audits. I've got quite an echo going here.
Okay, sorry.
But I'm going through the audits to see how legitimate they are, if they need any work, or if we just kind of lift our plan right from it. And I had mentioned to you before that I love the idea of a single solar farm rather than one on each building could make sense. That's one thing that jumps
Yes.
out. And then just the, see if the estimates are in line. So I'm working on that now. And I also would really like to get utilities nailed down. I had sent you an email about that. I'll talk to you tomorrow about that.
Yes, let's do, because I tried to set up, where all of our utilities are all of our electric accounts are now set up with the same thing. I can get in, but maybe
Yeah,
she
I
told me
wasn't
to
able
just
to.
share that, but yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
We'll get together and see if we can't make sense of that. But one of the things that Bill alluded to in one of the learning sessions we had, and I will also say that Callie Fishburne, with the BCRC, one of the representatives there, who her job is some of this energy coordination. She walked us through what needs to be in the application, and we learned things there. But Bill had suggested, because like he said, the assessments say to put solar on every building or in every yard. Well, we can't do it in the depot. We certainly couldn't put it on the roof. It's a historic building. You can't put it in the yard. It's not our property. So Bill's suggestion was to take the parking lot behind the fire station, build raised panels that you can park under, and you have the whole farm, and it would actually not only serve the 3 buildings, it would serve the entire village's municipal energy needs, most likely, including, if not all, a huge part of the $6,000-7,000 that are spent every year on streetlights. So we tried to see if the fire department folks could attend this meeting. We'll reach out and see if we can't get them to another one, because it would be really important to make sure that if we even considered that's not somehow impeding with the needs of the fire department. I mean, their trucks go out the front, but there could be unintended consequence of something without having their expert knowledge to say, yes, it could impinge, or it would have no bearing on it. So we will try to set up another learning session with Bill and with Callie, and we have to have this done by the 19th of September. So that's probably going to be a meeting that comes up next week, and just stay tuned and watch for all that information, because they gave us literally 3 weeks to get this massive $500,000 grant written and submitted, which seems crazy.
Yes,
After waiting 2 years for that grant to open up.
Wow.
So, but it's scored, if for those of you who have seen the information, the scoring on how that money gets awarded is really quite favorable to our village. We would score very well on most of the parts, because they are looking for smaller communities. We are rated on however the state rates energy, high energy burdened municipalities. We are one of them. We don't have paid staff that does a lot of this work. So we would find ourselves with some points there. And then we have all the energy reports, which, Bill, I tell you, I tried to read through. It's like 30 some pages on each report, and I don't understand it. I'm the first to admit, I do not understand what they're reading. So I don't know if either of you had a chance to read those reports that I sent out, but they're mystifying, certainly to me.
Hopefully they're easy for Bill.
Yeah, so thank you, Bill. We will get in touch, and I would imagine we might need more than one meeting to get this wrapped up, because there is literally 9 days left to do it. And when else would we have 500,000 drop in our laps to do things?
That's substantial.
Yes. And oh, the other thing is, the program did slightly change from its inception several years ago. So if you do not certify that your buildings are handicapped accessible, then you must use up to 20%, doesn't have to be 20%, up to 20%, doing some project to improve accessibility on some location. So that is another thing that we can do, and we can include in this a consultation with a handicapped accessibility person to tell us what we need to do. So that was new. Did I forget anything, Bill?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Ray, you've been helpful in all of this. Is there anything I forgot to say?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, just stay tuned for those meetings. And then we are unbelievably very ahead of our schedule, because the next part of this meeting was the one that is now being dropped, which is discussion with the Shasberry Select Board. So does anyone in the audience have any concerns or questions or comments? Mr. Novak.
Questions. I'm still wondering, I've been asking around on Facebook where our speed cart is. That's one. The other thing is, what's the progress with the traffic down, the new plans for the intersection of West and
The speed cart, I know, was having some repairs done. Honestly, with the two guys giving their all to Welling Field, the speed and the culvert that needed to go in and the striping of the roads, I think the speed cart there was no time in the day to do that. I will ask though, thank you for that. The traffic study there was a preliminary report that did not show us what we had asked for. That is back now under review, but there were two other projects that the engineering firm was doing, one on Welling Field and one that needed to be done for another reason, another legal reason in the village. And so those two efforts took priority. So we can hopefully have an update for you on that. Thank you for those questions. Anything else? If not, on a records, yes?
Sorry, there's one of these devices, right?
Yes. Yes. Now, we had put in the budget that we would use some $5,000 of ARPA funding to get a permanently mounted sign, but that is part of that West Street, Water Street intersection, so we'll do that. I have also asked Norm, when he gets time, to look into getting another one of those flashing signs that you have to push the button to put on Bank Street, kind of across where there is a painted crosswalk on the corner of Bank and School Street, to put that there for students. There is a crossing guard, but this would help for when there isn't a crossing guard. So he is looking into that when they have time. That's what happens when you have two people to do it all. Anything else? Matthew, is there anything you would like to ask or report on, or? Nope, shaking your head. Okay. Well then, at a record setting, 7:49, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Ray, that seemed very enthusiastic from Ray and
And you're getting a
Scott.
thumbs up from Matt.
Okay, so I don't even think I have to ask, are there questions? All in favor? Aye, thank